Well, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us. I am Yori Folari. Today we'll be looking at a subject matter that is familiar to just about every Nigerian, but familiar, perhaps not so very much. Familiar in the sense that everybody knows about oil in Nigeria, oil exploration in Nigeria, but if you were to move forward a bit and say, so what exactly do we know about oil exploration? If you didn't happen to come from the Niger Delta, where I imagine that all the youths there, have been learning about this from their elders, perhaps in school. So we have a chance in our guest this morning, who is an activist, an author, and is actually, the executive director of
Optimistic Outlook Empowerment Initiative for Niger Delta.
There you go. It's quite a mouthful. Dr. Sami Uranta. Good morning to you, Dr. Uranta.
Good day.
And thank you very much for making time for us this morning.
Thanks so much for having me in your studio.
It's our pleasure. As I was saying, every Nigerian knows that, oil is key. Now, the Niger Delta that is mentioned here is not the sole area where oil comes from. But we'll be looking, our focus this morning in relation to this topic is the problems, challenges of oil exploration in the Niger Delta. Now, off the top of one's head, everybody knows that it's an area of endeavor that rides roughshod over the environmental aspects of the area. But does it have to be so? As we have been doing this thing for quite a bit, have things been improving where you continue to explore with as minimal damage as possible on the environment? In short, so what exactly can you say are some of the highlights in terms of problems of oil exploration in the Niger Delta?
You see, even before Nigeria got independence, I think oil was discovered in Olobiri about 1958. Niger Delta has been sacrificing for the nation. And I'm not sure there's any other part of this globe, the world, where, the way they do the exploitation and exploration of oil in Niger Delta, that is the same way. Maybe it's because of the way, maybe the administration or the management or the supervisory aspect of it and all that. Because you cannot just handle this thing without following. There are laid down procedures how these things are done so that you take care of the environment.
Which we follow.
Do we follow?
Well, since we have only professionals, it's an area that not just anybody can come and say, I have come. This is my job.
When rules are laid down, it depends on the people who are supervising, who are superintending over those who are working on that process to abide or cut corners. For example, up to date, there are still several areas, flow stations, where they're still flaying gas. Because there's a certain amount they say you pay if you don't, harness this gas, and if you should stop flaring, you pay some amount. But the amount is small, so they prefer to flare and pay. But as you are flaring the gas, the whole atmosphere, is contaminated. So those in the Niger Delta cannot drink water when it rains because the atmosphere is already polluted. It's acidic. So when the rain falls, if you're in Lagos, if you don't have water, you can at least put your bucket outside and get water, and you can use it for that things. But in Niger Delta, you cannot.
You can't do that.
Our main occupation is fishing.
Yes.
The sea, the ecosystem, the aquatic life is destroyed completely. When I was growing up in Queenstown, Opobo, when my mother wants to cook, she will say, look, I want to cook tilapia soup today, or I want to cook singi, or barracuda, He just tell you,
All of that sounds quite appetizing.
You see?
But you are saying that
now
these resources are being threatened.
They are no longer there. We just go get the implement, go and get the fish. While she was preparing, bring it, and she will cook with it.
Let me just backtrack for a little bit. You talked about flaring, and now that suddenly what used to be flared off CNG has now become something of an asset, is that going to have an impact? Has it begun to have an impact on the fact that we now seem to be conserving this.
I don't know the extent to which it will go. But Nigeria have a very high deposit of gas reserve. Even with the LNG project, we still have so much. So much. And so we should be able, you see, the problem is that this country is so blessed, but we are not tapping into our blessedness. We are not tapping into the possibilities around us. And maybe that's why we are living in lack. If you ask, look, the streets of Lagos, Kaduna, Port Harcourt, Zamfara are paved with gold, diamonds, and platinum. But we are not seeing it. If you ask the Lebanese, the Chinese, the Indians, they'll tell you. We're not seeing it. So we should be able to harness what we have and to create the good life for ourselves. But the people of Niger Delta, oil exploration is looking like more of a cost to the people than blessing. Because when you look at the fact that our mainstay is fishing and some bit of farming, the land is gone, the fishing environment, the seas are just destroyed. So how do you survive? So it leads to restiveness. The use, just like any other part of Nigeria. But these ones are so disadvantaged that they cannot, if I'm living, say, in say, Oyo State, Ibadan, and then there is hardship and all that, I can at least decide to put my hands to work and I do some farming, bit of farming. We cannot do that in Niger Delta. So the youths are there looking for what to do, and they are hungry. You know, an angry man, a hungry man is always very angry. So, yeah, go on.
Yeah, because your body, your NGO, I imagine it is Optimistic Outlook Empowerment Initiative for the Niger Delta. So just looking at the caption, the title, optimistic. So the Optimistic Outlook Empowerment Initiative.
Yes.
Yeah, so I'd like to, and I'm sure the viewers would like to learn about, okay, we seem to have tales of woe because of the environmental degradation that you've spoken about. So what is the optimistic outlook that you seem to have made, you know, a whole, you know, study out of? Because I introduced you as an author, yes. And by definition, if you're an author, to some extent you, if not to a large extent, you're also going to be a researcher.
Sure. You see, what we have done was to get we looked at the Niger Delta and we created a blueprint of how to go about it, because we are more concerned with the business of things, not in the politics, not much on the politics of political aspect of issues. We're looking at how to develop youth economy in the Niger Delta, how to put the youths of Niger Delta, you know, to put their hands and their heads to something and make a living, how to direct the energy, this bustling energy of the youth of that region, how to engage it to something positive, to a positive end. Because if these energies are not, you know, channeled to something positive, but of course, something else will take it. Because energy is like water. If you trap it in a place, if you can't find a channel, a positive channel, it will, you know, come out, you know, negatively. So that's what we're doing. Before now, in the last administration, we did a proposal to the governors, all the 6 states of the Niger Delta, including NDDC and the Niger Delta Ministry. We send them our proposal on how to create, you know, an economy that will help the youth of the Niger Delta get engaged. Both the apprenticeship, both the training, the mentoring, and setting them up in business. And we wrote letters to all of them. We even recommended that the governors of Niger Delta should come around, agree, and establish what Governor Ambode did in Lagos State, the Lagos State Employment Trust Fund. We should create that fund so that when these youths go through this process of training, apprenticeship, and all that, because we stated that we should copy from our Igbo brothers, because the Igbo apprenticeship system, boy, you know, as it's called, one boy system, is such a veritable means of wealth creation. And it has transformed. In fact, the Chinese copied that system from them. And the Chinese environment, you know, has turned to something else today.
When you say the Igbo system, You're talking about where a person is an apprentice, a helper, he just lives with his master for an agreed period of time.
After which he's settled.
After which he is settled or set up by this master.
Yes.
He's actually set up in business by this master.
Business. So within the period he stays with the master, he has gone through different aspects of business, marketing, sourcing, every aspect of it. By the time he comes out, give him one year, he's already a millionaire.
He himself is making.
Yes. So he too will start doing the same thing. So we say, look, let's copy, just to tweak it a little bit, like we suggested. We wrote all of them.
How would you adapt that to what we're talking about here now? We're talking about the environmental degradation and, stemming it. So how would that apply? Whereas we can understand how it would apply in business, how would it apply in the subject of our discussion here?
You see, oftentimes they say there is, when you ask some of the oil producing companies in the Niger Delta, they say it's the youth of the place that are busting the pipe and doing, even though I know that happens, is a very in the minutest form. Okay. The real problem with the oil theft and all that is the people that use their biro and signatures and all that, So when the youths are engaged, an idle mind is always going to be, the devil's workshop. A lot of things can go on. But when the person is engaged positively and you're serving a need, you are feeling a need for the people, you won't remember to go and do a lot of things that might not go well for society. That's what we are saying. But amongst all the governors of South, it was only governor of Edo State that responded to us. And then we're invited, we discussed with them. Of course, eventually it could not even fly because they said they don't have money.
They don't have money.
They don't have money.
Because that has come out just before I was going to ask the question. We're an organization named the way yours is named, Optimistic Outlook. I was going to ask you how optimistic you are about the response that you have got from these stakeholders.
You see, just as the name entails, optimistic outlook, what we're looking at is no matter how terrible the situation might be, we should be able to extract something, because no matter how bad the situation might be, we'll be able, if we look in, seriously into it, we'll be able to get something, because there is no time you see something bad or something good that does not have the other accompaniment. If it is so good, there's something bad in it. If it's so bad, there's something good in it. So what we're trying to do is to find out, in spite of every other thing, what is that little good that can, extract from this thing, and then we begin to highlight the good, so that at a point, the good will now overshadow whatever bad there is in it.
We must keep sight of the environment, because at the end of it all, we have just this one planet, and it is actually our duty to do our best for the planet in terms of keeping it. This is not an idea, I fear, that my fellow countrymen, our compatriots, they're not very hot on. I mean, they go to, quote-unquote, ridiculous extremes in other places where you see people can almost give up their life for a tree. For a tree that if you look at the contribution of that tree to the environment, and so, as you know, you don't need me to tell you, people take all areas of environment in foreign lands very, very seriously. They don't want injury to the natural environment as much as as people would abhor injury to human beings. However, how much does it contribute that our people are not too hot in that area? We have often heard about cutting down trees for firewood, not leaving places green, that kind of. You'll come back to it, but in the meantime, a caller has come in and I don't want to miss him. So let me take his comment or question. Good morning, Mr. George.
Good morning, Uncle Yori.
Thank you for calling in.
Good morning to Dr. Ranta.
Yes.
Thank you so much.
Uncle Yori, it's a good thing you brought up this topic this morning. The Niger Delta people have all the time been complaining about this exploration problem. And governments have not really been able to do much. I only recall the one that President Buhari asked the now Deputy Secretary General of United Nations that when she was environmental minister, she went there on this clean-up project. But as soon as she was appointed to that UN appointment and she left, we didn't hear anything about the clean-up again. Nigeria is not the only OPEC country. OPEC countries are those that are major producers of oil. We don't hear stories of this environmental degradation as a result of oil exploration in places like Libya here in Africa, Saudi Arabia, people that are known for oil explorations. How do they do it? I think the Minister of Environment, our ministers, they don't talk to us. They bring in them. Let us be questioning them. They need to be talking to us. We want to know what they are doing. But that is that, Uncle Yori. I want to ask your guest. The government did something. Government is not always wrong. Sometimes they do what is right by setting up amnesty program.
Yes.
Where the youth in Niger Delta are sent to, many of them sent abroad to go and learn one profession of trade or the other. That has been going on for close to 15 years now. What has been the impact?
What has been the payback?
In Niger Delta?
What
Do
has
they
been the
return
payback?
home?
Yes.
What impact are they making to that region? I want him to please educate us on it.
Thank you very much, Mr. George. And in particular, because it was a question that I was going to spring. Remember going back to doing our best to, stem the flow of vandalism and all of that, and the agreement, a lot of Niger Delta youths, went abroad. And they were supposed to, first of all, give us a situation report. I imagine that you will have something to tell us as a researcher in the area. Has it worked? Have they actually been come back home to contribute their own quota? Or what has happened? Have they been like the musicians that sometimes go abroad and they just disappear?
No. A good number of them have gone out. I know a nephew of mine actually went to Philippines and he read marine engineering.
Okay.
He's working in a ship, in a vessel. They go back, they go back and forth today. I know a couple of people that have gone, and came back with knowledge and all that, and they are using it, But the thing is that, you see, when in the wisdom of President Yar'Adua, who created tried to create the amnesty program, the Niger Delta, the NDDC, and the Ministry of Niger Delta. Now, that was the first step. When these people go out and acquire knowledge, when they come back, there is supposed to be another effort made so that you can engage them. Because if you go and learn whatever you've learned and you don't use it, it's of no use. You see, in the early 60s, when the Chinese were sending their people they will send people, professors in Chinese Oriental studies, they will scrape their head because they are smallish in nature, generally. They go to America, they go to Western University, they go to Japan, go to different places, America, and you see them moving around like undergraduates. They study different courses, engineering, this, that. When they finish, anyone that finishes, if what you studied, your area of interest is in, say, a tractor, the Chinese government will buy a tractor for you. And then when bring it down to China, you will dismember it and start recoupling. That's how they manage to create the whole thing.
So what you're saying here is that in other areas, we're talking about the Niger Delta youths that went away and then came back. Hopefully they did.
Most did.
Most did.
Yes.
But you seem to be implying that in other climes, in other areas,
they
are engaged.
They're engaged.
When they come back, they actually are seen as an asset and are engaged. As opposed to people just looking away
there's high unemployment situation in Nigeria.
But
when they come back, as these people are coming back, there's supposed to be a second stage of this arrangement.
Which means when you said they're supposed to be, that suggests to me that it's not the case.
It's not the case at all. You see, the problem is with our country is that those who superintend over our affairs, I don't know how they reason it that even when we're sending our people to on ECOMOG and all that, there's always a national idea behind going out to do one thing or the other. But when you say people, when Americans send people to one place, there is a national interest they are pursuing.
So we don't follow through.
We don't follow
Not
through.
all the time.
Not most of the time.
Most of the time. Yes. Mr. Joshua, calling in from Irewolede in Ogun State. Good morning to you, sir.
Yes, good morning.
Thank you for calling in. Good morning. It's been quite a while. Yeah. Welcome back.
Yes, very well. Good morning to your guests, too.
Yes.
Thank you. Good day.
In addition to what George said, I just want to add this for him to comment about. And it's about the governors of the Niger Delta region. And I will use this example to say what I'm trying to say.
Sure.
Remember when we had this huge problem of this conversion, Naira, whatever, that Governor El Rufai had to go to court on behalf of Nigerians. Mm. That use of power by the governor saved the nation from almost total collapse. Now, I look at the use of power by the governors in the Niger Delta as a big problem for that region. Presently, Delta State seems to be having the highest revenue from the reform of the president. They've been collecting huge amounts of money that one of the senators is actually shouting and querying the governor about what they are using their money for. I am thinking that if the governors of that region are actually doing their part, they should be at the forefront of pushing this LPG project. The federal government would have just been a backup hand. It would, the shout, the project, the citing of the project, the pushing it would have come from them, investing hugely in doing something for their region, because it's going to affect the lives of their people so much and the nation. Because, like he said, they have abundance of gas flaring in that place. Why don't the governors pump money as an intervention using this program and even some of the little refineries that they can do down there? Why don't they look at that side and really help their region? Thank you, sir.
Well, thank you very much. Thank you very much for calling in. Mr. Joshua calling in from Ogun State there. Yes. Did you have any sort of remarks?
Yes. You see, it's a general Nigerian problem. But I also expect that those who are greatly disadvantaged, like we are in the Niger Delta, that the people who are at the forefront, the stakeholders, major stakeholders, the people who are in leadership positions in the region ought to do more than what they are doing. I told you here that we wrote letters we sent our proposals to all of them.
But the response has not been encouraging.
Yes, it has not been encouraging. But there's something we have also done, because we won't leave it at that. When you try and you don't get what you want, you push further. We have created a magazine, a business magazine. Like I said, we are not interested in the politics of things. We're interested in the economy, the businesses, the SMEs. So we have a magazine called Motivapreneur Business Magazine for SMEs. So what we'll do is that we'll be going Motivapreneur.
Okay,
Motivapreneur magazine for SMEs. Yes,
okay.
Business magazine for SMEs. So we'll be going to each state. We are working on River State now. When we are done, the magazine comes out next first week of November. We'll take it to the area. We'll have interviewed people, find out what they are doing. We'll go from state to state. We want to find out.
Okay.
You are spending public money. What have you been doing with it? Tell us what you're doing. We'll go and inspect those things.
Who are the target audience? Who is the target audience of this publication that you're talking about?
Business people, SMEs, and every other Nigerian.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
It's online and
because
it's
it's about enlightenment, yes. Really, right?
Yes. Yes, because we are interested in, like I said, youth economy. Because you see, whoever wants to get anything done, go to the youths. So they are the future.
Okay. Because as the first caller, the George calling in from Lagos said, most of us don't know, and I started off on that note myself, that people are not really aware. We just know that Niger Delta and oil is 5 and 6. But we also know that there are downsides to it, degradation and all of that. So we don't know what most people don't know if you don't have reason to research it, if you're not working in there. You don't really know what the plan is, where we are on the timeline. Are we, in the beginning?
We are far behind, very far behind. I was.
So we're suffering.
Yes, we are on another. I was on another forum, and we were talking, and somebody said, "Look, there's corruption in the Niger Delta. That you people are not doing anything. You're not querying your people." Have a call. Okay.
Okay. Let me take a break so that I won't, be interrupting you. Please stay with us. We'll be right back. We'll continue taking your calls as we continue our conversation with Dr. Some Uranta. Stay with us, please. Okay, then, welcome back. And we're having this conversation with Dr. Some Uranta. We're looking at the outlook in the Niger Delta as it relates to oil production. There's so many areas. It's a very, very wide subject. Some of it has been touched upon. But by the way, let me just get quickly at being a researcher, this whole idea about the NDDC, Niger Delta Development Commission. Yeah. Of course, there's a lot of talk on the fact that all of the development commissions around the country are now going to be under an umbrella ministry that is going to see to a sort of systematic and possibly equal development of the different commissions. Your thoughts on that?
Yes, you see, I am greatly pained by that decision. I'm not sure that the president was well advised. I guess he was ill-advised to take that decision. Because...
Let me say, so that I can understand you very well. Whatever has been going on in the Niger Delta Development Commission will continue, is the way I see it.
Okay.
Will continue. But additionally, other areas, other regions, the development commissions that might have been lagging behind, or if that is the way to say it, will now be brought on stream so that whatever is going on there, where there's a lot of expertise, experience, and indeed profit going on, you can extract the same from around the area in a sort of a concerted kind of way. That's the way I thought it would be. But when you started off saying that you were greatly pained, it can't be because the other people are now going to be developing as quote-unquote efficiently as the Niger Delta, can it? It can't be because of that.
To be candid, for example, the Niger Delta Ministry has not been functioning. It hasn't done much because we also wrote them. We also wrote the NDDC. Mm-hmm. At the same time, we wrote all these governors. Mm-hmm. I said, look, this is what we need to do to engage the youth, to create an economy that will keep everybody busy, okay, and then everybody will be happy. Mm-hmm. Now, I just mentioned about the road network between Benin to Warri, from Warri through Patani, Mbiama, and Port Harcourt. It's terrible. You won't believe that this is where the wealth of the nation comes from. Why is it so? There is the NDDC, there is the Niger Delta Ministry. It could not be done. And you know why that ministry was created, why the NDDC was created, was because of the peculiarity of the environment of the Niger Delta people. Okay. You know, like I stated earlier on too, if I'm in, say, in Kwara State or in Sokoto, and things get tough, I can resort to farming. Yeah. But if you're in the Niger Delta, as a young person, there's what you can do. You cannot go and fish in a polluted water. You cannot farm on a land that has
the terrain is like, yes, unique.
If you want to build a bungalow,
and it was sort of purpose. The NDDC was purpose built for
that.
But
today in Nigeria, every other region has their own version of NDDC. Then to top it all, taking away the Niger Delta Ministry that oversees that, we are thinking of how to make this one work.
But is it being taken away, sir? It's not being taken away, is it? Instead, there are other similar, commissions that are now being brought under a supervisory ministry.
Sir, when it was only supervising the NDDC, and seeing to the affairs of Niger Delta. They were bogged down by incapacity and malfunction. Is it now, when it's now catering for the whole nation, that to pay attention to the Niger Delta? That's the issue.
Okay.
Above all, sir, the people.
Sorry, sir, because somebody's been waiting online, and I'm in danger of losing him.
Okay.
Good morning, Kenneth. Kenneth in Abuja. Thank you for holding on. Thank you for holding on, Kenneth. Good morning.
Yes. Good morning, sir.
Okay. Please go ahead.
My name is Kenneth Wosu, calling from Guarenta.
Yes.
What the man there is saying is truth. Whenever they send people outside this country to do a particular thing, when they come back, even in the police, in the army, they will go for training. When they come back, they will not put them where they will be useful. What he said is actually the truth. And again, our southern governors, I don't know what they are not coordinated at all. These are the things they are supposed to come on stream, gather themselves together, just like as there is no light in the northern area for a few days now. They all come together, but our southern governors, they are not doing anything at all. They only just get to spend money, and you question them, they do away with you. Bye-bye.
All right, then. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you very much. Appreciate your contribution.
Yes, you see, the area that is even painful is the fact that this action or this decision was implemented without consultation, without due consultation. PANDEF just met over the weekend, and they said they were not consulted. And we, the hen that lays the golden egg is being what is put in place to take care of it is about being taken away from it. And then we just had some months ago a ministry created for livestock, which is supposed to be just a department under the Ministry of Agriculture. But that ministry, that one now got a full ministry. And then the one that lays the egg, that most of the wealth of this nation, when you hear about billionaires in Nigeria, check, more than 85% of them are oil related. So is it fair that way? I know the thing about life is that any human-made or positive law that takes away from the principles of natural justice, which borders on equity, justice, and fairness, is always going to be a nullity. It won't work out.
Okay. Daniel in Port Harcourt. Good morning.
Good morning, sir.
Thank you very much for calling in.
Yori.
Yes.
Yes, thank you for the wonderful thing you are doing. I like the idea that let's dig into some of these issues and understand clearly what is going on.
Yeah.
I think it is not fair to say that, or rather, I'm from Edo State. I've lived in Bayelsa, I've lived in Delta State, I'm currently in Port Harcourt. I'm based here in Port Harcourt. I think that the Niger Delta people first have a sense of entitlement. There's something called sense of entitlement, and which for me, it is clearly wrong. Take, for example, when we say some of these roads are not done or certain things are not done, you can send your journalists to somewhere they call Indorama. Indorama pays Eleme, the people of Eleme, who is their host community. Every month, they pay millions of nairas to them. What has that money been used for? I think that the idea that, for example, the governors of the Niger Delta formed a commission we call the Brace Commission.
Okay. Oh, okay. Sorry we lost him, but let's go back. I'm sure the sunny one that came up there was
sense of entitlement.
Aha! You couldn't have missed that.
There's no way I could have missed that. You see, he is also a Niger Deltan. In case he doesn't know, he's from Edo State.
He is.
Now, what is he talking about? That they pay money to people from Indorama, pay money to people of Eleme. I don't know where he's headed. Sorry, we lost him, the call. Maybe we'll call back. But let me tell you something. If the government decides to work on the road from Benin to Port Harcourt, that links Niger Delta. Do you know that if somebody wants to go to Calabar from Uyo, you can't go by road, though. You spend almost a whole day on the road. And it's just about 1 hour, 30 minutes to 2 hours to Calabar. Oftentimes, they have to go by sea at the risk of sea pirates. You see, it is only natural.
So you reject the idea of what the self-entitlement.
There's nothing like that. There's nothing. You see, I was on another forum yesterday, and somebody said, look, Lord, let me say that what is happening to Niger Delta should happen to you too. Because who will take it? No other region in Nigeria will take it. When you're taking things from a people and then you are developing other side, you see, the devastation of Niger that happens in our place, the environmental degradation is ours. But the wealth that comes out of the place is for everybody.
It's for everybody.
But when the man in Zamfara drills and mines his gold and all that, or even plant his granite and form a pyramid, it is theirs.
No. Gold is not, for example, it's ours.
Is it ours? So how much has Nigeria made from gold? And they've been mining gold. What heard of it?
Okay. At least you reject that notion that it truly is ours.
I don't know that it's ours.
You don't know.
It cannot be ours when I'm seeing what they are bringing to the table.
Okay. Let me see. Who do I have here? Alhaji Subaya in Alimosho. Good morning.
Hello, Yori, good afternoon.
Good morning. Well, let's start with morning before afternoon. Go ahead, please, Alhaji.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Mr. Yori. I'm very, very interested in this Niger Delta issue. You understand? Why I'm saying this is this. Because a friend of mine, let me tell you the issue of this story. I'm concerned very, very much about this Niger Delta issue. A friend of mine, for more than, about 30-something years ago, let me, if I can remember vividly, he worked in Nigeria Hara Bank. You understand? He was terminated because of this, revenue, the remuneration to the oil producing state, because he mistakenly, because he is the manager in the bank, Nigeria Hara Bank. You can imagine, as far back as that year, federal government has been, doing justice to oil producing area. But where I'm going is this. You see, after that, a lot of ministry, etc. agency has been set up for Niger Delta issue. But at the end of the day, nothing is coming up for this area. But my point is this. The people in that area, they are enemy of themselves. Let's be fair with ourselves. They are enemy of their progress in that particular place. A lot of ministry has been set up there, and then this, etc. You understand? Where is the money going? Where is the money going? That is my emphasis.
Yeah. So how, Alhaji Subaya, how are they their own enemies?
They are the enemy of that particular of the area.
How are they their own enemies?
My friend.
Did you hear me? You said they are their own enemies. How are they themselves their own enemies?
Yes. Where I'm going is this. The remuneration they have been giving, the remuneration they have been giving to Niger Delta place. The thing is they are not utilizing it for the benefit of the people. That's where I'm going. Where is the money going?
Okay.
It's unfortunate. When you go to the area like the man emphasized, it's appalling. When you see the road in that particular place, it's not taken care of, and a lot of money has been sinking that place. They cannot give account, of those money. That is why I said they are enemy of themselves. Okay. Let me fair with ourselves.
Okay.
That is the fact about it. Niger Delta is to talk to their people, and that is where I'm going. Have a nice day.
Thank you very much, Alhaji Subaya. Okay, I tried to extract some expatiation of the idea, and it seems to be saying that, look, there's a lot, as you would have in anywhere where there's oil involved and exploration. There's a lot of money in the place. But I think he's alluding by innuendo to the fact that they are chopping it all amongst themselves selfishly. They are not doing the public good with it.
I cannot sit down here and hold brief for the attitude of the people who are overseeing the things in Niger Delta. But I also want to state that Lagos got developed. There's corruption in Nigeria. Yet, Lagos got developed with the corruption in Nigeria, Lagos got developed. Abuja got developed with all the corruption and all the chopping and looting of Nigeria's treasury. Abuja got developed. So if there is a concerted effort, if there is the political will and the honesty to say, look, we want to get this thing done, it will be done.
So
there's most other regions.
Are you conceding some part of his point to him?
Of course,
then?
of course.
Okay.
Of course. The people in Niger Delta, for example, I was somewhere yesterday and I was saying that how come the Niger Delta ministry will be scrapped and made now to subsume it under, or become what will take care of the whole Nigeria instead of just taking care of Niger Delta, which they have not been doing. And none of our rep have said a word.
Okay. Sorry. Izuagbe, did I get that right? Good morning, sir. Izuagbe.
Hello, good morning.
From Abuja. Good morning. Go ahead with your contribution, please.
Hello?
Hello. We can hear you.
Yes, you are right.
Okay, go ahead with your contribution, please.
Thank you. Good morning, the guests in the studio and the anchor.
Thank you, sir. Thank you.
We are talking about the goals that lays the golden egg for Nigeria.
And the challenges
talking
thereof.
About the Niger Delta.
Yes.
And of course, we know what the people in that region have been passing through, even before independence. That was why far back in 1958, was it the Wilkins Commission that was set up and recommended a special development plan for that region. Today we see a level of degradation, and I don't think there's any amount of money that will be expended to alleviate the situations of people in the Niger Delta that will be too much. One thing we must remember, the Niger Delta is not the only region that has been blessed with resources in this country. Why is it that there's so much concentration on the Niger Delta, and yet the little bit the people of the Niger Delta are getting becomes a synergy of all eyes? People are asking questions, what are they doing with the money? Do you know what it costs to build a kilometer road in the Niger Delta that is swampy compared to a place like Maiduguri or Sokoto? These are situations that must be taken into consideration. There must be justice. Because if the Niger Delta provides the funding for the entire federation and fair justice is not given to them, let us not go back to the bad days of militancy. The question of creating regional development plans for the various regions of this country, there's no problem with it. But the Niger Delta Development Commission must be very, very sacrosanct. If for any reason there's going to be South-South Development Commission, just like it is for every other region, the Niger Delta Development Commission should remain. They named the Ministry of Niger Delta Development and Ministry of Niger Delta and Regional Development, so that take care of the special need of the Niger Delta as well as all other regional development. Let us not throw the baby away with the bathwater and then create more problems for ourselves in an attempt to solve one problem at the altar of politics. Okay. That's my contribution. Thank you.
Thank you very much, sir, for it. He sort of addressed that whole question about the Niger Delta having a sense of privilege, sort of has put that in context. It's a big subject, and here we are. The main reason, that's why you came. You wanted to highlight the big challenges in an oil production area like the Niger Delta. Yes. And well, you don't seem to be encouraged by the response that you are getting from the leadership of the area. Nevertheless, you continue your crusade. You've just told us that you are another aspect of it is the publication that you're bringing.
Yeah. if you check other regions, if the road network fails, there's rail line. It does not in the Niger Delta. At least we should be able to go around the Niger Delta.
So who is it that you're holding responsible? Because I understand you perfectly. And I think the point has been made in about 1, 2, or 3 people in various ways that it's not going to come from the outside. It's going to be from within. It's going to be Niger Deltans themselves, the leadership of the place. Maybe coming, you know, it's been said. So that's the sense in which somebody, his own graphic way of putting it was that they are their own, you know, enemies. If all of this is going on and they are not coming together among themselves, you heard him. You heard that was Alhaji Zubair calling in.
But let me ask you, which region that the region, regional government or the states came together and built rail line, railway infrastructure? It's always been federal government. So is it too much to build in Niger Delta? Now we don't have road.
How about Lagos? You were saying, how about Lagos?
It just started now, just within Lagos.
Okay.
Is it to Ibadan? It's within Lagos.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
We're talking about interstate.
I mean, interstate
rail network. Yes.
So that they finish in the Niger Delta, then they go and do it, you know, the next location, location.
If we have
if they have a concerted plan.
If they have a link that will link the Niger Delta states together. If the road is not working, at least you can use the rail.
There's an alternative.
Because, see, there are a few things that makes life meaningful. Mobility is number one.
That's right.
If you have food or you are hungry, you need to move from point A to point B, locomotion. Then you need food. You need shelter and where you cover, the clothes to cover your back. So these are basic things of life.
But you've also highlighted that the leadership in the area, the entirety of that area, has not done all that it has the potential to do.
They haven't.
They haven't.
I must say they haven't. And that's why I'm also saying that part of our initiative is to push and demand accountability.
Okay.
We will. And we'll call out whoever that refuses to give us an account because you are spending public money. You cannot take the people's money and you spend it the way you like and you just say,
not
because Nigerians would like to do, I'm a big man.
Yeah.
But we'll take care of other situations because we can't sit back and allow our place. If, as you are shouting now, if the authorities don't take note of it, if they don't act on it, actions has consequences. Inaction also has consequences. But I pray that we don't go back, like somebody said, to the days of old that made the late President Yaradua to institute these agencies as a way of assuaging or pacifying the restiveness in Niger Delta.
You know, I want to thank you very much, Dr. Somi Oyuranta, for coming along and, as it were, you know, sort of, you know, reminding us again that it's an area, it's a sore there. It's a sore.
A gaping sore.
It is, and it needs to be attended to. So thank you very much.
Thank you.
You know, activist and author and researcher on the area. Thank you very much once more.
Thank you, sir.
Okay, so that's our program today. We'll leave it for the moment there. No doubt we'll pick it up again. It's a recurring subject matter. Do please join us tomorrow for a fresh edition. I'm Yori Folari. Bye-bye for now.